Blessed be everybody, it's time for another major astrological transit examination, and in this video we are talking all about Jupiter in Taurus, which starts May 16th, 2023. For those of you who saw the May monthly astrology general reports, you probably saw me tease that already, and it's going to be with us all the way up through May 25th, 2024. And this is one of the happiest, healthiest, most prosperous transits in astrology. Every 12 years, this combination, right, Jupiter in Taurus, pushes hard to maneuver each and all of us to our highest, most personally fulfilling life paths, living situations, career arrangements, and relationships of all kinds. And with Uranus in the mix, these transitions will be occurring faster and much more abruptly. This video I have decided to make a little bit longer than normal because I also wanted to cover the highlights of this coming 12 months starting on the 16th of May. So we're going to be, of course, breaking down the combination of Jupiter and Taurus, but then we're also going to be talking about Jupiter's retrograde towards the end of 2023. We're going to be talking all about Jupiter square Pluto here in May 2023. We're going to be talking about Jupiter conjunct the North Node at the beginning of June, talking about Jupiter sextile Saturn in the middle of June, and we're going to be talking about Jupiter conjunct Uranus late in May 2024. So strap in, we're going to be covering a lot of ground in this talk. You're basically getting just a whole rundown reading of how this next 12 months, pretty much starting now, is going to go. And of course, I'm also going to be talking about what areas of life are going to be chiefly affected for each sign. If you are ever interested in getting a session with me, you just need to go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com, or you can follow the links in the down bar below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and leave a comment. As you know, engagement helps this channel out a lot, and I invite you to subscribe if you enjoy deeper dives into astrological content. So what can we expect just from the blend of Jupiter and Taurus together? This next year is all about everybody coming into a new space of wealth, abundance, happiness, and a sense of true home in the world. Jupiter in Taurus is one of the few transits that reconciles the conflicts of the pursuit of material wealth and security, prosperity, and pleasure with the true self and one's personal desires and one's personal path. That's why it is such a cool transit for all of us to go through. During Jupiter in Taurus transits, we often see a lot of recoveries as well from losses, missteps, misadventures, as well as misplacements that may have occurred over the course of the previous 12 years. So look at your journey from 2011 through now, what has been going on, what has maybe been sort of a loss, a mistake, a misadventure, a misinvestment, or maybe any kind of disappointments, things like that. Don't dwell there. Just look at it, because Jupiter is going to be bringing in a lot of corrections that are also going to be physicalizing, manifesting in this part of your world, well, all parts of your world pretty much, right? This is all about a big remedy. We've got the consequences of those things getting smoothed over by fast, consistent influxes of new comforts, both material and non-material, to bolster one's quality of life. This will be focused on not just filling the void, so to speak, when it comes to empty spaces and lack, but also shifting one's path away from the effects and consequences of past mistakes, either made by others or made by yourself. Because of this, all new trends that are set during this transit will come on strong and be almost impossible to resist. But because they are so beneficial, I don't really see anyone actually going out of their way to resist them. It's just going to be up to you to make sure that you don't ignore them. Bigger, better, best means a push out of small ponds, a leap into higher powered pursuits, and moves to more comfortable, loving spaces and arrangements. Environmental shifts will either come in consistent stages, especially between May of 2023 and October 2023, and between December 2023 and May of 2024, or in big jumps, depending on what's going on with your personal chart and your personal planets, right? This is a beautiful time for relationships and partnerships as well, as of course, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Moving for your best good could also be a good sub-theme of this transit. But to take this on, one must be ready to accept that bigger, better, and best will be getting pushed hard by Jupiter into your world. And if something is already there and it's not really a match, or it is not adapting, whether it will not adapt or will not evolve, it will be getting pushed out. Beauty is as beauty does, and so goes the same for value. Value is as value adds. Jupiter will not be molding, changing, or raising up that and those which have been harmful to us or hold us back in any way. So be ready to look with honest, open eyes at what happens. Jupiter is getting the diamonds out of the rough. Jupiter is not going to be molding or squeezing the rough into diamonds. Be ready to accept higher roads and get on the move. Moving could be literal, moving you from one space to another socially, professionally, or domestically, or moving you to a higher road, moving a relationship forward, moving one away from a period of isolation and maybe, again, stagnant repetition to more rewarding and fulfilling circumstances. In short, what begets prosperity, value, love, happiness, and a true sense of home will not only be revealed and brought closer, or maybe you brought closer to it, but also get all the power and the blessings and support that it can do all of that and more in the bigger, better, and best of ways. So how is this transit going to be experienced by you, or for that matter, for each sign? Well, if you haven't noticed so far, Jupiter has a tendency to transform or push its influence into everything at some point in time. It just tends to start from the house or the sign that it is transiting, and then it expands out from there. It starts with its own, whatever sign it is occupying, and then it activates all of the areas of the same element. So if it's in an earth sign, it's going to activate the earth sign energies of your chart, right? Whatever houses are ruled by earth signs in your chart, and then that will expand. So treat these areas of life as windows or doors or conduits for this to come forward, right? This is where these blessings are going to be coming from and infusing the rest of your world, as opposed to spaces where this is where just it's concentrated. That's not going to be happening that way. It's eventually going to get out and everywhere and lift everything up. So if you are an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, this is going to be focusing on personal world shifts for you. The whole world is opening up for you. And it's primarily going to start in your areas of romance and love, spirituality, prominence, fame, and travel, and your lifestyle. And so you're going to find that all of these areas of your life are getting these blessings first, and then the ripple effect, right, the beneficial ripple effect is going to be moving on and activating all other areas of your life at the same time. If you are an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, this is going to be focusing primarily to start on your areas of intimacy, as well as personal enterprises, self-employment, investments, shared resources, your home, anything to do with your living situation, as well as even your past, reviving old opportunities or things that were passed over or things that could never get started for whatever reason. And then it's bringing all of these things together, whether it's lifting them up, bringing them back to life, or maybe just making them all the more prosperous, all the more successful, and then distributing those blessings throughout the rest of your chart. For you fire signs out there, so you Aries people, Leo people, Sagittarius people, this is going straight to work on all of your income sectors or your work areas. So we're talking about wealth, promotions, prosperity, raises, and big jumps in career and status. When we have Jupiter in an income area, such as houses 2, 10, or 6, which is what all of these areas are, depending on what fire sign you are, you've got one of the three. people have a tendency to jump a tax bracket and set up a new consistent normal when it comes to their personal and household income, as well as their status and station in work and at their career. So be prepared for these big jumps to be in the offering for you, and let that definitely lift up the quality of life, the finery, and the luxury of the rest of your world. And for you water sign people, you Cancerians, Pisceans, and Scorpio people out there, this is going to be getting started or going to work first in your areas of community, friendships, alliances, partnerships, commitments, as well as collaborative projects, adventures, and the accomplishment of your biggest personal lifetime goals and aspirations, and then absolutely transforming the rest of your chart and your goings on in the rest of your world from there. So now that we've gotten familiar with how Jupiter operates in Taurus, let's talk about how things are going to transpire over this 12-month period by looking at some important dates and highlights that are going to be affecting each and all of us. However, I do want to preface this by saying that when it comes to working with dates and highlights and effects in astrology, you are always going to be more accurate when you accept that these are talking about page turns, or the beginnings of page turns that will have effects lasting beyond the dates in question. People often make mistakes and miss out in astrology when they get overly attached to specific calendar dates, or assume erroneously that everything is going to have a beginning, middle, and end during a certain effect window. You really don't want to go, in with that kind of philosophy or that kind of approach. I feel like that's kind of a mistake, or again, an erroneous strategy that's been purported by a lot of really, let's just say, modern shifts when it comes to astrology, especially for those that like to use this as sort of a processing tool, and they try to always relate to the immediate moment. Don't do that with predictive work, and you're going to have a much more accurate prediction when it comes to what is coming over the course of any kind of astrological trends that you are examining. We'll start with the most near at hand, at least as far as the time I'm recording this video, and the beginning of Jupiter's move into Taurus. And that is Jupiter square Pluto, which is going to be exact on May 17th, but it will have an effect window that lasts up until the beginning days of June. This is going to be an interesting exchange between the planet of wealth, expansion, novelty, luck, advancement, and prosperity, and the planet of transformation, transitions, power, intensity, and the shadow. And you might want to keep in mind that when it comes to a square, squares are all about responsibility and clashes that come from our responsibilities. How do we satisfy our responsibilities, or are we maybe taking responsibility for things that we should not? Are our responsibilities for the wrong things, or our commitments to the wrong things keeping us from going forward? This square is going to make some very serious shifts in your world that are going to highlight where you might need to stop taking some responsibilities, release yourself, and get ready for a big move. Essentially, a big break comes into conflict with a pre-existing arduous or hopeless commitment. Pay attention to where the planetary support is going versus where it is not going. Remember, Jupiter in Taurus is about taking diamonds out of the rough. Jupiter is not going to be trying to mold, squeeze, or transform the rough into diamonds. Not going to be doing it. Not a part of the priority here. There is a push to wrap up go nowhere projects, go nowhere investments, and go nowhere involvements at this time, especially if they have been getting in the way of higher opportunities or forcing said higher opportunities to wait while you or anyone else involved wraps up old business and resolves old conflicts. Jupiter will be providing ways to profit from getting out of this old business by giving everything a graceful end. Remember, a square is about meeting the needs of all matters involved in the clash, so it will be possible to make a clean sweep and tie up all loose ends, and even come out ahead. But you need to surrender an old plan, narrative, agenda, or commitment in order to profit from this. The next big highlight comes hot on the heels of this, and we have Jupiter conjunct the North Node on June 1st, which is opening up an effect window which largely governs about the first half of June. So the North Node getting engaged is a very powerful shift because it is probably the most esoteric and the most out there point of examination in any astrology chart. You've probably heard me say before, the North Node, that marks our personal divine path or our personal divine lesson as we go through this life. We have a personal North Node in our natal chart, and then of course there is a transiting North Node that moves in the present day that helps us kind of navigate our compass, right? What we are learning, what we're going through, where we need to be going, and so on. And with the North Node being all about the personal divine path, our biggest challenges, our biggest rewards, life lessons, and even to a certain degree, personal spiritual destiny, and Jupiter in combination, we are seeing a huge lift and a huge force forward. A financial, social, or maybe personal involvement is going to be going through a big breakthrough that is moving you from the path you have been on for the last 18 years and onto a much more secure, gainful, and gratifying one. However, this will come into a clash with maybe what you have cultivated as a normal or a comfort zone routine during this 18-year period as well. Keep in mind, when Jupiter and the North Node work together, they are also creating an opposition or a conflict with the South Node. The South Node can be described as sort of like the ego's comfort zone, the crutch, a place where we have minimal challenges, negligible wins, and a lot of complacency. This may require you to face some kind of personal insecurity, complex or intimidating concern that you must overcome. Jupiter will be favoring a valuable ally, path, opportunity, commitment, or goal that you have been afraid to embrace or commit to by lifting it up in all ways. And you are encouraged to follow with it. Remember, the North Node is where our biggest rewards for our growth comes from. Later in June, on the 19th, Jupiter will be forming a sextile to Saturn. And so this will be creating an effect window that lasts from about the 19th of June up until about the 27th of June. And again, we're still talking about 2023. This is all happening pretty much right away. And so the planet of wealth, expansion, novelty, luck, advancement, and prosperity is going to be working in harmony as a team with the planet of structure, discipline, order, maturity, boundaries, and stability. So with Jupiter and Saturn working together, there is a new long-term arrangement, commitment, or alliance, or possibly some kind of investment that's getting made firm during this period, and it's going to be reshaping the entirety of your life around itself. There will be a big, albeit incremental, adjustment period required for this to get fully integrated. So this is likely to be something that comes in stages throughout the course of the back half of June and probably going all the way up until we get to the end of September, beginning of October. There may be moves, training, sacrifices, new contracts, and the elimination of old contracts all happening at the same time. This could also come with its fair share of conflicts, though, even though this is a good transit, because this will be benefiting those that will welcome change, maturity, growth, and adaptation, while it might feel quite punishing to those who refuse them. Once we start September, our next big highlight period shows up, and we have Jupiter turning retrograde in Taurus, and will be retrograde from September 4th all the way up through December 30th. Jupiter retrograde is still extremely beneficial and auspicious for everybody. You can't really mess up Jupiter even when you make it go retrograde. So I don't want anyone to think that just because I said the word retrograde, it must be bad. Get over those feelings and prejudices now. Jupiter turning its energies inwards during a retrograde period brings everyone to the opportunity to find buried treasure in their own backyard, so to speak. This is a time where unsung, unappreciated, or maybe before their time assets, before their time ideas, before their time pursuits, before their time commitments, have their time to shine. And so anything that maybe has been unsung, going through a bit of a Cinderella story, anything that has maybe been unappreciated is suddenly coming into very, very high value. There will also be many opportunities to discover hidden gifts, wealth, or even growth where they have been either kept hidden or kept down for whatever reason, environmentally, personally, things that were maybe ignored, unseen, invisible, misunderstood. All of that is getting a chance to be finally appreciated and brought forth into your life or raised up to bring great profits to everybody, however you define profits in this situation, because we can profit in ways that are not just financial. The final highlight of this video I want to talk about is Jupiter conjunct Uranus, which is actually happening in May of 2024, on May 18th to be exact. And this is where we have Jupiter leaving Taurus with a good bang. We have that planet of wealth, expansion, novelty, luck, and prosperity merging with the planet of evolution, epiphany, progress, spontaneity, experimentation, and invention. And a fast-moving, oncoming transformation is born from the bold, high-caliber combination of these two planets. This kind of combination is where one would see major life direction shifts coming because of a sudden win or possibly a sudden windfall. During this kind of transit, however, it can be very difficult for even astrologers to be able to see exactly what's going to happen just because of the nature of Uranus being the wild card it is. This is the period where one might see big inheritances, travel opportunities, getting one's self or one's work discovered and then propagated, maybe people getting engaged, eloping, getting married, shifting gears into high-powered career positions, or maybe even making make an unaccounted for score or big win on an investment or a gamble, and have surprising success with a social or business venture that changes the quality of life for their family or their enterprise. And this is going to be something, well, that will have ripple effects that will go on for years to come. And that is the story of Jupiter, May 2023 through May 2024. I wish you all the best of luck with this transit, though I don't think any of us are really going to be short on it. If you enjoyed this video, please again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me or maybe get an examination of your personal chart to get more details of what's going on with your personal planets, you can go on ahead to my website, integrativemysticism.com, or just simply follow the links in the down bar below. Y'all take care, and I will see you all again soon.